So here I am on one of my service sites, and if I wanted to have a static front page that uses the Divi builder, I want to show you how I can use custom-made layouts as a springboard to sort of jump into design. So I'd want to go first and foremost into my dashboard. Once I go into dashboard, I'm going to come over to Pages, Add New. I'm going to give it a name. So for this example, I'm going to call it landing page. Publish that. And what you'll notice is I'm not using the Divi Builder theme, but rather I'm just going to use the plugin. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to Appearance, then Customize. Because what I want to do is make sure that that landing page is the first thing that people see every time they go to the site. So once I come in here, regardless of the theme that I use, under customization, I'm always going to have this option right here to have a static front page. So I select that, and then it's going to ask me which one, and I'm going to say I want the landing page. So I'll save and publish that. Great. So nothing is on that page yet, so we're going to go in and we will edit that page. But you may notice I don't have the built-in plugin. So depending on the theme that you are using, you might actually have to go and add that plugin. So I'll show you how to do that right now, just in case the purple Divi Builder button does not appear for you. And you may have already guessed, it's in plugins. So there's a few different ways I can go to find it. You'll notice that they are all in alphabetical order, so maybe that's the quickest and easy way, or I can search by category, or I could just sort of type Divi right in here. But it's just a quick scroll away, so I'm going to activate the Divi Builder plugin. Now, when I go back to All Pages, and I go to edit my landing page, there it is, use the Divi Builder. So the plugin's been activated. I'm going to click that button. And again, as we've been playing around with different modules, I could add them, or I'm going to go up here to Load Layout, and I'm going to take advantage of this great built-in feature called Pre-Made Layouts. There are so many of these to choose from. I've actually had a lot of fun playing around with different pre-made layouts. So that's, again, something that you could get really lost in. But as I hover over one, you'll see it will scroll down and it's going to give you a little bit of a bird's-eye view on what that pre-made layout is all about. And as you become more familiar with the functionality of the different modules, you'll begin to recognize them. So this right here, you might recognize the two buttons. This is probably a call to action. So I'm going to scroll through just again to give you a little bit of an idea. And then we're actually just going to go ahead and pick one. So I sort of like this one because for my landing page, I do want to have some images, but I'm also going to need a lot of text. So I'm going to start with this. I'll select Use This Layout. And once the layout loads, the important thing to remember is many of these are very complex, and depending on your purpose, you might not need all that complexity. So what's really great is you can actually go in and delete the modules that you will not use, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So right, as I scroll down here, that's way more than I'm going to need. So what I also recommend you do is if I click the preview changes, that's going to open up a tab for me that will let me just toggle back and forth between what it looks like to the reader and what it looks like to the editor. The other thing I'll point out, you'll notice that the text isn't fitting the way that I want it to fit, and in part that's because I have these widgets over here. So what I recommend to some groups is actually you might not need the widgets. You might just want to think about deleting them. So again, if you want the layout to sort of stretch across full page, you have to get rid of the widgets. Okay, so I'm actually okay with, why don't I show you right now how to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go back in once again to Appearance, Widgets, and you'll see it has the sidebar, and this is everything that I'm using. So if I click here and I go delete, 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 now I've gotten rid of all of those widgets, and I'm going to have a little bit more space to play around with. Okay, back to all pages. I'm going to select my landing page once more. We'll go back into editing that. Because I didn't save, the layout didn't save, so I'll come down and actually I'm going to pick the Yoga Studio layout. This is a nice simple one. I've used this before. And if you're thinking, but wait a second, you're working on your drum therapy site, what does that little image of the yogi have to do with that? Of course, you can swap in your own images so that it does serve your purposes. And I'm going to show you one of my favorite sites to do that. So again, preview changes, just so I can toggle back and forth and see what it looks like. Oh, and there's two widgets I did not get rid of, and I'll do that in a little bit. So if I want to swap a different image in for that, I know that this is where that image actually is. And if you notice this checkered background, that's because this image is transparent, and that's why it has this really nice visual effect. So I'm going to swap that out, and I want to swap it out for another transparent image. So that's why I am going to use Pixabay. It has a really nice option to let me choose transparent images, and again, these are all royalty-free stock photos. So if I search for drum, I want to point out just right here under color, if I click transparent, that's going to give me all transparent images. So now I can scroll through and find one that works. This is actually perfect. So again, checkered background means it's transparent. I'll download that. I can have it be really big. This size is fine, or actually I can actually do it a little bit smaller. All right, great. So I go back into my site, upload the file that I just downloaded, or actually I can just drag it right in. And you'll also notice that each layout comes with its own built-in images that you can use or you don't have to use. Now either I can preview the way that I've been showing you, or I can click the eye here and I can take a look at not only how it looks on the Mac, but also how it's going to look on a tablet or on a phone. So let's do save and exit. And I'm just going to have a little bit of a scroll through and see, well, where are some of the modules that actually I don't need? I really like this one, so I'll find that module and I'll keep that. But there's quite a few that I don't actually need to keep. So I'm going to just sort of delete some of these out. And I come over and I refresh my preview tab. Then I can have a look and see. Back up to the top, there's the drums. Yeah, that's going to be more than enough for me to start working with. So all I would do now is begin to go in and modify, change the text. So again, this is about drum therapy at East. And just like I've shown you, we can go in and we can customize the design of each. I'm going to give this a little bit of a text shadow, save and exit. I actually don't need this text. That button I'm actually going to use to link over to some content that we have on Padlet, so I'll keep that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different big blocks of modules. That's going to be more than enough for me to have my drumming students put in our core, most essential information so that when people go to our site, in particular when prospective students are considering whether or not they want to get involved in this service, they get a quick overview of the most important pieces of information, and they get a sense in a nice visual way of what it means to be a member of drum therapy here at East. Thank you.